What is it about palm trees and sunsets that just makes you want to get in your car and roll down the windows, drive through the hills, look for a party and a pool and a pretty girl? But tonight we got a poker game. And that's enough.
It's 10:15 on a Monday. You probably can't hear me. Let me get my mic out.
Yeah, that's great. Cheers. As you can see, I'm out at night. And as you probably noticed, that doesn't happen often. It's usually the daytime when I'm out pokering and getting into trouble. But every once in a while, no matter your job and family responsibilities, you got to go out, as my wife likes to say, during the dark time. And that's what we did. We played poker. We had some fun. We won a bunch. Let's get into it.
Before we get into this delicious 10-7 suited hand, I want to take a second to talk about the Lucky Lady Casino's 1-2 no limit game, the best 1-2 game in California. The buy-in is $200 max for your first buy, $300 max for your second buy. You can sit down in this game and see people with stacks of $600, $700, $800. Crazy. One of the things that has kept me interested and intrigued in poker for decades is how each casino, each session, each hand is unique. In fact, I almost called this vlog Snowflake Poker. And this session is a great example of getting to swim in that pool of uniqueness. Swim in a pool? I don't think that's a phrase, but I think you're with me. Okay, let's get back to this 10-7 of spade. In the small blind, the button makes it 4. I call. 2 more people call, so 4 of us are going to see this flop, which comes down 10-7 4 rainbow. Glorious. I check. The big blind goes all in for 17 whole dollars. We get a fold, and then we get a call. The last caller saves himself about 40 behind, so when he gets back to me, I think about it I pretend to think about it for a second. And then I go all in, putting him all in. Essentially, if he calls, he does call. The turn is a deuce. The river is a 4. I don't like that. But I turn over my 10-7, it's good, and I take down a solid $175 pot to start the session. This is maybe 2 orbits later. I pick up queens in the cutoff. There's a limper to me, and I open to $15. The button calls, the small blind calls, and the big blind raises me to 40. The original limper gets out of the way, and it's back on me. Now, there are plenty of games, plenty of situations where I wouldn't be happy getting raised with, quote, only queens. This is not one of those situations. This is not one of those games. I'm more than happy to get raised with queens in this game. I look over, the $40 raiser has about 125 behind, so I've got him covered, and I've got the other 2 people covered. I really, truly don't even think about it very long before I go all in. We get a short stack to call. The $40 raiser calls. So 3 of us are going to take a look at 5 cards. I toss over my queens, because that's how I roll. And I don't even take note of what the cards are. No aces come up, no kings come up, no straights, no flushes. I dodge whatever I needed to dodge and drag in a sweet, sweet $400 pot. This is a silly little hand. I've got king jack in the hijack, and I raise to $12 over the straddle. Small blind calls, straddle calls, and the flop is 9-10 queen. I just simply flopped the nuts. But the small blind, he starts counting off on his fingers like 1, 2, as if, I don't know, to say he's got, a straight. I'm like, well, maybe he does. Wouldn't that be exciting if he has the lower straight, the 8 jack perhaps would be fun for me. But no, it goes check, check. I bet 16. No one calls. I drag in a monster $30 pot. Boom. This is a fun hand. I've got 5s under the gun with the straddle on. There's one limper before it gets to the small blind who makes it $25. I know this player very well. He's a tight, aggressive, straightforward player. He's never doing this with an ace-4 suited, with a 7-8 suited. He is only doing this with his premium pocket pairs, his aces, his kings, maybe his queens. Doubtful he would even do this with an ace-king. It doesn't take me long to settle in on a call. I'm never raising here. I could find a fold, but I really think if I flop my set, we could commit our stacks. We each have about $400 in front of us, so 200 big blinds. So I call, everyone else gets out of the way, we go to a flop of 4, 6, 7. Not bad for fives, actually.
Ooh, I like
Really? You flop a set?
because I do the favor to you.
You flop a set?
Huh?
You flop a set? It's a very good flop for me. Yeah, I should call, but
Thanks, man.
Gotta say, I really don't like his bet here. He overbets the pot. There's 50 in the pot. He puts in 100 and something. If I had in fact flopped my set and I go all in, he's gonna call. He's gonna turn over these aces and he's gonna be very, very angry. But I don't mind how I played this hand. I feel like I got the right price to possibly take down a massive stack had I in fact hit my set. Oh, this is a down and dirty little hand. It's gonna make a few people go, no, you didn't just do that. Yeah, I did it. All right, that's me. I've got ace king. What am I, under the gun +1, +2? So I open for $10. 2 to my left, somebody makes it 25. Then the next guy 4-bets him to $50. I am 100% certain that I'm in bad shape with my ace king. He's got aces. He's got maybe kings. There's no way he's got queens. It's just one of those situations where I'm like, I've invested 10 bucks. I've got ace king. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to pick them up and toss them into the muck. Goodbye, pretty cards. Yep, folded ace king pre-flop. Moving on. Okay, I pick up sevens. Pocket sevens in the small blind. There's a couple limpers when he gets to me, so I make it $10. We get 3 callers, so 4 of us go to a flop, which is ace 7 deuce. You flop your set and the ace is out there. So I leave for $10, just trying to trap somebody in. I get 1 caller. Their turn is a jack. I still love that. I'm kind of looking over to say, hey, how much you got left over there? And has about $30 and just shoves it out. So I put out my 30, essentially calling him, but I meant to lead. Either way, we get it all in. He turns over. He had a jack. I take down a nice $120 pot. Okay, let's go through a couple hands here. I've got jacks, 2 very attractive red jacks. I get 2 folds before it gets to me, and I make it $11. Then I get 2 callers, and on the flop I get 2 overcards. I check it. Someone bets. I get out of the way. Next hand is ace 9 of diamonds. More very attractive red cards. Kind of a similar situation. I make a small bet. We get a couple of callers. I whiff the flop, and we move on to the next hand, which is a doozy. Now we find ourselves with the very attractive, very playable ace king of diamonds in the cutoff. Player on my right opens to $6 and I make it 20. Everybody folds, it gets back to the player on my right and he makes the call. So 2 of us are going to this flop. Now this player's been at the table about an hour and he's been pretty active, so I know he's not afraid to go after some hands. Flop comes down king, 10-7, 2 spades, and he checks it over to me. We have about 40 in the pot. I decide to lead out for $20. Half pot bet, about 50% of the pot. He makes the call, and the turn brings us the ace of spades. Okay. I've got top 2, but the most obvious draw got there when the spade got there. He checks it over to me, and I don't rush into this decision. I don't see myself getting away from top 2 pair, even if he has made the flush. That being the case, I want to get some money in now. So I do a slight overbet to $105, and he goes into the tank. So unless he's putting on a show at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm in great shape. He maybe has a pair and he's drawing to either the spade or maybe even, a straight. He could be. We've got ace king 10 on the board. So he goes in the tank. He really thinks about it, and finally lands on a call. The river is a jack. Okay. I don't love this card. So now we have the 3 spades and a 4-liner to the straight. If he is in fact calling me with a 1 pair, straight draw. He just got there. Any king, queen type of weird hand just got the straight on the river. So when he checks it over to me, I don't see any hand that I can really get value out of from him. He's either going to check raise me all in with his straight, or he's going to check fold if he just has one pair. So I do think about it for a bit and decide on just turning over my top two pair. He then turns over king jack for perhaps the only hand I could have gotten value out of, but I'm not being greedy. I'm very happy to win this pot, a solid $300 pot to end a really great session.